right, this is a feedback video of Lab 7. Yours is an interesting situation. I can't get into the details, but like I mentioned in the email, I thought you and I had discussed had a discussion. It was a pretty big issue, um, and it was actually it had to have been a different student because, as I indicated in the email, I went back and checked my email history, and you and I had never had that conversation. So, to be honest, I mean, you did get that grade. You truly did miss those things. Um, but to be honest, I'm pretty lenient in grading normally, and in that case, I was just giving you, was just not being lenient because again, I thought you were making mistakes basically that I had already told you not to make. That we had already had that discussion. So again, we had not had that discussion, so you had not been warned, and therefore even though you did miss those points, you're about to get some of those back. So I'm about to go pull up your lab and take a look. I will say this. This is a little bit of an extra credit situation here. First of all, after you watch this video, if you are fine with me sharing this video, I'll give you 1 point of extra credit. So send me an email and let me know. And also just for watching this video, I'll give you extra credit. So at the end of this video, if you want to, you can send me an email with the attendance words and you'll see what I mean. Well, I'll just do it right now. Like, so for example, the first word for attendance, if you will, is Bob, like the name Bob. So write that down, right? The name Bob. I'm going to do that throughout this video. And then at the end of it, if you want to, you can send me those words and I'll give you extra credit. Now, this is only for Andy. I'm assuming Andy lets me share this. If anybody else is watching it, this extra credit is not for you. This extra credit is for Andy. So that being said, let's take a look at your lab. All right, let me hide this, pull this up here. 1 second. The computer's been a little bit glitchy. Is that what I need? I need this one. And then over here, there we go. So again, I was just being extra picky with your lab because again, I had assumed that we had made or had a conversation and that you had done all the mistakes that you and I had conversed about, which is not the case. So let's take a look. So you did lose 3 points here, right? Because I do need the most recent years. So if you look at the original, well, you don't need to look at original, it says right there, right? You have to enter the year because what I need to be able to compare your data to the data on the website. It just so happens that this is one of the last ones I graded. So lucky for me, I wouldn't say I memorized the data on the website, but I've seen it enough to where if something here is wrong, it would like extremely wrong, it would jump out at me. So anyway, all that part, that was good based on based on my memory. But anyway, yeah, you definitely lost 3 points there. Unfortunately, you did lose the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points there. I know you asked for help. I wish I could have helped you. I still can. So if after seeing this video, you decide you want to resubmit with corrections, then let me know and I can show you how to do that. Also, there's a video. Let me see, hold on. Yeah, watch that video. It should help you. It's pretty simple. And I'll at least really quickly bring it up and try to show you. Really simple. Think about this. It's a good time for me to say this too. A lot of what I'm trying to teach, a lot of the mistakes, excuse me, let me rephrase that. A lot of the mistakes people make aren't even biology mistakes or science mistakes, or even necessarily math mistakes, right? Yes, we're talking about math right now, but this is kind of like a big picture. You need to be able to think about stuff to figure this out, right? And that is very important no matter what your major is, right? So let me use an example. The total net energy for 2022 generated, you can see it right here, was about 4,000 billion kilowatt hours, right? That was the total. So the total includes, and I wish I could write on my screen to show you, the total includes renewable plus non-renewable, right? Renewable plus non-renewable equals the total. So if we just want to have the non-renewable total, then we need to take the total and subtract the renewable, right? That's it. It is pretty simple when you take a step back and look at the big picture. And I can understand with these labs, especially, that can be hard to do because I have so many detailed instructions, which I'm sure you've noticed throughout the semester. I'm always torn between giving more detailed instructions and fewer detailed instructions, because there's pros and cons to both. And this is a con. This is a disadvantage of giving too many detailed instructions, right? So if I were to just not give instructions, maybe somebody could figure that out. It's pretty simple to figure out. So again, total equals renewable plus non-renewable. So all we have to do is take the total, subtract the renewable, and we're left with non-renewable. Anyway, with that being said, so you have to lose the points there. Obviously, you didn't do it. Now here, I'm going to take these points away. I won't even get into why. Yes, technically these are incorrect. But again, I was being extra picky because I thought you and I had already discussed that, but we had not discussed that. So there we go. Let's move forward. So here, and you asked what you did wrong, and I'm hoping, of course, it's at the end of the semester, so this advice doesn't help you too much. But if you let somebody else watch these videos, maybe this will help them. But you can see here, I usually leave some sort of indication with what's wrong. So yes, I got an X mark here, so you know question 19 is wrong, and then I highlighted this. What was your hypothesis? Was it correct or incorrect? Overall, did things increase, decrease, or remain the same, right? So you failed to repeat your hypotheses for all these questions. I know that seems redundant, but it is on purpose. A lot of students lack the ability to be able to compare their hypothesis to their data and determine if the data supports their hypothesis or not. So for this, that's one of the reasons I have people repeat their hypothesis. It's just part of the process. Again, I know it seems redundant, but it is important. And again, this goes beyond biology or science. This is something really important. No matter what your major is, you need the ability to be able to look at data and figure out what it means, right? Especially these days when so many people are trying to lie to you. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So if someone's able to show you a study that says, I don't know, X plus Y equals 7. That's what the study really says, right? X plus Y equals 7. Whatever. I know we're talking about an equation, but I'm just trying to put it in some way. X plus Y equals 7 is what the study says. But if you look at the study and you're looking at all the data, and someone tells you X plus Y equals -7, and you look at the data and you're like, oh yeah, that checks out, right? But it doesn't, right? So you need the ability to look at data and compare it. And to be honest, it's pretty simple. And it looks like you did do it properly for the most part. I'll throw that out there. It's just that there was this little nitpicky thing about you not writing your hypothesis. So I hope you understand why I require people to use their hypothesis or write their hypotheses. But also, let's talk about grading again. Again, I assumed that you and I had some conversation via email, in which case you were making the same mistake that you and I had already talked about. But again, after looking at my email history, I realized you and I had not had that conversation. So let me adjust your grade again. You're still going to lose some points, but it won't be nearly as many because I'm not being as picky. So let's take a look here. Oh yeah, sorry. And the next word, we'll say the next word for attendance for extra credit is castle. Like someone lives in a castle. Anyway, question 19. What was your hypothesis? Was it correct? Your hypothesis was correct. Consumption increased, right? So I'm going to go ahead. That's really, really obvious what your hypothesis had to have been, right? If it was correct, then you must have hypothesized that it increased. So let's not deduct a point for that. Now here, you said your hypothesis was incorrect. So now I don't know what your hypothesis was, right? Was it increase, decrease, remain the same? I don't know. I took a whole point away from that because I thought you and I had already discussed this, but now that I know we haven't, that's only half a point. 21 was correct. So again, it's kind of obvious what your hypothesis was. 22 was correct. So again, it's kind of obvious what your hypothesis was. 23, your hypothesis was incorrect. I don't know what it is, so you do have to lose, in this case, again, just half a point instead of the full point that I deducted the first time. 24, you were correct. It decreased. So again, I know that's pretty obvious what your hypothesis was. Now, if anybody, sorry, let me pause real quick. If anybody else is watching this, other than Andy, don't count on me doing this, right? So yes, I am giving him credit. But when it says, what was your hypothesis, just go on the safe side and repeat your hypothesis. Even if it was correct, go ahead and repeat your hypothesis. But anyway, 25 was correct. It did decrease. So it's obvious what your hypothesis was. 26, which one saw the largest increase? Your hypothesis was correct. Solar power. All right. So again, get your point back, right? Because this is obvious what your hypothesis was since it was correct. Here we go. This one was incorrect. Therefore, I don't know what your hypothesis was. So again, this time half a point instead of the 1 point I deducted the first time. And of course, 28, obviously you have to have the full point deducted because you haven't done it yet. And I understand you emailed me. We can still meet. Hopefully the explanation I provided a few minutes ago will help you do that. But if not, let me know. We can figure it out. 29. Okay. So this one, a lot of people mess this up, right? So you explain why you think solar saw a bigger increase than anything else. And then you need to, at some point, indicate whether you guessed or looked it up like you did right here in question 30. So again, I was being very picky. I deducted a full point for that because, again, I thought you and I had discussed this and that you were making a mistake that I've already talked to you about. But again, I realized after looking it up that we have not had that discussion. Therefore, instead of being a full point, you're only going to lose half a point. Let me fix this really quickly. Excuse me. Just trying to kick us off. There we go. Okay. So 30 you got correct. 31, 32 is correct. This one, I was not being picky. Everybody lost points for this. Well, not everybody. Everybody who made this mistake lost a point for this, right? So the entire graph is worth 4 points. You lost 1 point. The percent change of renewable energy, the reason you lost the point is because we need to know when, right? So when to when? Is that from like 1900 to 2010, right? I mean, so I'll go back to what I always say about graphs. Graphs should make sense to the person reading them out of context. Right, you should be able to show somebody this graph and nothing else in this lab, and they should know what this means, right? So that's why you lost a point. But also to that note, another thing that would improve it, but you didn't lose points for this, is if you were to mention that what we're looking at is a change in billions of kilowatt hours, right? So we're talking about usage in kilowatt hours. Because think about this. This could be all kinds of changes. What do you mean percent change, right? So this could mean the number of employees, right? So solar has increased 40% with its number of employees, and when hydropower has lost, right? So it could be like I said, that's just one example. This could be the percent change of number of employees, the percent change of numbers of companies doing this, percent change of households using particular types of energy, right? So again, it would be improved if you were to mention that this is the usage in kilowatt hours, but you did not lose a point for that. And then this one, whoops, you did lose a point for that. Anyway, and this one, yeah, I know this seems picky, but you're supposed to save it as a file as a PDF before you upload it. That is for a reason. It helps me. I won't get into it. It is helpful. I do need that. But also on your end, on the student's end, it's a free point, right? All you have to do is save it as a PDF before you upload it, and it's a free point. But the only downside of a free point is when you mess it up, it's a lost point, and it's a lost point for something that seems trivial, but it is what it is. So that's another point deducted. And that's it, right? And then I looked and I didn't, let me double check, make sure I didn't miss any extra credit. Required just one fewer instructions. Yeah. Check this last page. All right. So that's it. That is your new grade. And I hope it makes sense. So now I'll pull out the calculator and let me show you how to calculate your new grade. And some of this is really basic math, but I'm still going to show it anyway because I have the calculator pulled up. So it's 39 possible, right? Minus the 9 that you missed, which is a total of 30, or excuse me, was 30 out of the total of 39 possible, which gives you a percentage of about 76.9%, right? So we'll multiply that by by 25, which is the total amounts possible for any lab. Then we get your grade of 19.23. The last word for attendance or extra credit, whatever, will be light switch, because that is the end of this video. So again, now that we're done with the video, if you want to, send me an email with those words that I mentioned, and you can get some extra credit for that. And or send me an email and let me know if I can share this video or at least change the setting from unlisted to public, and then I'll give you extra credit for that. And most importantly, um, if now that we're done with the video, if you still have questions, email me, let me know, and I can help you. I think that's it. I'm forgetting one thing. Give me a second. Sorry, bear with me, please. Let's see, videos, emails. Oh yeah, and also as always, feel free to resubmit with corrections. I will warn you this, or give you this warning though. This is the 8th week, right? This is the last week, and I've seen this historically. I guarantee what's going to happen is there's a lot of students who have been really slacking off all semester, and now all of a sudden they're going to care about their grade, and they're going to be um, turning in a lot of old stuff that they didn't do and making old corrections. And as I've said from the beginning, I can't guarantee that I'll get around to grading that. And most likely I will be overwhelmed and will not get around to grading all the corrections and all the late work. So if you do make corrections, my recommendation is the sooner, the better. And that's it. Hope you have a good day.